but I cannot say thank you enough to each and every one of you that has been a part of our NYR trip this year. Whether you donated money, whether you donated time, whether you donated food, whether you donated prayer, or whether you were just thinking about us. It is all valuable to all of us that went. It's valuable to especially the leaders that you enclosed us with prayer so that we could have this be as good of a trip as possible. Eric gave his report, but I'm going to tell you the truth. This year was not a good year. If it happened, if it could happen, it was going to happen. It did happen. Coming into this trip, it's a lot of preparation, a lot of thought has to go into this, a lot of just trial and error, and just being able to get ready to go on this trip takes a lot of energy. We start out, we have a setup weekend, Saturday, where we come in and we set things up and unload the shed out here of all the stuff that we need to take. We load some of the stuff onto the trailers. We make sure the trailer tires are ready to go. We make sure the trucks are ready to go. We make sure that all of our gear is there and we have all the stuff that we need. We have batteries, we have food, we have all of these things that we have to prepare, and it's a lot of energy and a lot of time consumption. This year we had a brand new tent, as Eric said. It was a 20 by 30 tent, and it was different than all the other tents that we've ever taken before. There was a lot more to set up, and so we had to take it all out of its box. It was brand new, and kind of set some of that up and try to figure out how these pieces go together, and that was nerve-wracking because there's a lot of small pieces of that, and if you lose any one of those, then that tent is almost useless. But it's a very important and integral part of our trip. So that was a lot of energy. And then just getting ready to go on Wednesday, we get here, and of course, we're running late, right? You can't leave on time from Blue Ridge most of the time because something is going to happen. Things need to be finalized. The trailer's doors haven't been shut, whatever it is. And so we were running late. And then Eric had to go to Kansas City. He was supposed to go to Kansas City a little bit before us to be able to get the other vehicle that we needed at the rental place. And so he was supposed to leave about an hour before. He left a half hour before. So that put them behind. Thank you to my wife who was able to take time off and take him to do that, and him and a couple other kids. And as they were gone already, then that leaves me and Alicia here with the rest of them to finalize everything. Trent, thank you for being here for that, to help with that. But now, because of not having a bus or a big van, shameless plug of why we need one, we have to figure out all the vehicles that it's going to take to get 15 people there. And just the planning of getting 2 people from Iowa and all their luggage and everything in time to load it up on the bus, making sure they're ready to go. And there was a couple from the Boonville area that went with us. One from Moberly that went with us. And these people aren't here when we do the practice setup and all that. And so getting them integrated into all of the proceedings. But because we didn't have a bus, we had to take a van to pull one of the trailers, and the driver of that van had never pulled a trailer in her life before. So she was nervous, and she was kind of freaking out, and what do I do here? How is this going to happen? What's going to happen if this goes on? And is the chains on? And is this all set up? Is this all hooked up? And yes, it's good. Let's go. We're late. Then we get to Kansas City, and the guy leading the pack, for whatever reason, can't read signs very good. It might be because he's half blind as it is, but he's leading the pack. And Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, where you have to make the right turn or you're going to go the wrong direction, right now is under construction. And so you see this big sign coming up close to it, I-70 west to Topeka is closed. So now you got to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to get through downtown? What road am I going to take? And obviously, it's hard to do when there's traffic that is blocking part of the lanes and there's construction blocking some of the other lanes. So now instead of having 4 lanes, you're down to 2 lanes. And one lane goes to the left, one lane goes straight. And if you're not in the right lane, you're going to miss your turn, which is exactly what happened, which now, after being a half hour, almost 45 minutes late as it is, now we are traveling through Wichita, Kansas on a 2-lane road, which puts us an even further behind by an hour and a half. Not only that, the person pulling the trailer that's never pulled a trailer before, now she's pulling the trailer through a rainstorm. The very same rainstorm that a few hours later flooded Kansas City. So she's freaking out even then. She's on the radio. Well, guys, I'm scared. What am I going to do? And we're just like, hey, just keep driving, right? So then we get out there finally. We get to the hotel. Actually, before we get out there, we get to the hotel. And because we're running late, instead of being at the hotel by 10:30, we get at the hotel, our time here, at 12:30. 1:30 Colorado time, or Kansas, Colorado time. So we're all tired. We're all just ready to go to bed. And we've had enough of Wednesday. Then Thursday comes around, you get up early after being tired and not sleeping very well overnight, and you get up early and you head to the top of the mountain and you got a whole long day of setup. Now, I have to let you know, 2 people had to stay back because my daughter had a function that she had to be here for, and so my wife and my daughter had to stay back. That leaves 3 adults, 2 of them which are crippled, to set up, to lead setting up 11 other people on top of this mountain. Everybody's acclimating to the air change and the elevation change, and we're all tired, and now it's getting time for lunch. We're getting hungry, and we have this big tent that we've never set up before that we have to set up, and so there's stress, hangry, tired people all trying to work together. Finally make it through the weekend. Sunday starts, and then the actual NYR week starts Monday. Eric's wallet comes missing. Brought it up to us later on in the evening. Hey, we found the wallet here on the path, and Eric's going through his wallet and come to find out money's been stolen. Tuesday happens. Eric goes to take a shower. Thank you, Eric. Glad you did that. Had all of his belongings on the counter as he was making his final prep, and realized later on in the day that his iWatch or iPhone watch or whatever they call the iPhone version of the watch is missing. Gone. Can't find it. Doesn't know where it's at. Wednesday happens. And I start being in pain. Now, it's just a dull pain. It's a small pain. It's not a big deal, but I'm starting to be in a little bit of pain, a little discomfort, but I'm able to make it through the day. I'm still cooking and doing all the things that need to be done. But at evening worship, it's raining, and so a lot of us are sitting underneath the shelter of some kind, and Alicia and Eric are sitting on the golf cart. And on this golf cart, there is a set of keys that you have to have in order to be able to drive them around, and her keychain that had the golf cart key is missing. Not only the golf cart key, but it's the only key they have to the van. Gone. Can't find it. Don't know where it's at. It's pitch black. Everybody's walking around. She's trying to backtrack and figure out all the places she's been. We went back and forth and tried to find them. Gone. Then Thursday hits. I wake up in so much pain, so much discomfort. Don't know what's going on, but I'm able to walk around. I still go down. I still be a part of the worship service. But as the day goes on, I get sicker and I get more discomfort, more pain. And finally, I've had enough. I can't do it anymore. And I go and lay down. That was our trip this year. If it was going to happen, it did. So what I want to do now is I want to move into our sermon time. Our theme for this year was Eyes on the Throne. And our scripture verses are out of Hebrews chapter 12. And I'm going to read them for you real quick. And it's just the first two verses. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. eyes on the throne. Our focus was on different things, different ways that we're supposed to be looking at the throne of God. And as you can imagine, my week, I had a hard time really focusing on these verses, really listening to all these lessons, because I'm rehashing all the things that are going on, especially within my own body, and the discomfort and everything, and all the bad things that have happened so far in the week. And my focus on the throne is not there. But there's two things that I want to bring forth this morning, and I'm going to try to do it as quickly as I can. One of the things that I want to bring forth is in our daily lives. There's so many things that we pack into our days. There's so many things that we have to accomplish. There's so many things that we have to do just to get through one certain day, one single day of our lives, that it's no wonder we as humans can't focus on the things that are important. Now, I could go through and explain all the things that we take to NYR, but what I want to do instead is I want to take you through a day of one of my favorite times of the year. Now, many of you know me that I attempt my best to be an avid hunter. And so, like NYR every year, my hunting season sneaks up on me, and it hits me. Hunting season opens up on Saturday morning, but Friday night, you'll see me buzzing around the house. I'm washing my hunting clothes. I'm packing my backpack with all the stuff I need, and then I don't get to bed until late. And then I have to get up very early in the morning to go on this trip to where I am going to hunt. So here's what I want to do. He doesn't know I'm going to do this to him yet, but he's been with me, and he kind of knows how things go. I want Christian to come up here for a second, for a couple minutes. I want to walk you through what I have to go through just to get to my deer stand on Saturday morning. Now, come on up, Christian. Don't be shy. If you've ever had to prepare to go to anything, even as simple as a hunting trip, you know there's a lot of preparation that has to happen, and you have to have the right amount of things. At least you think you have to have the right amount of things in order to have a good hunting trip. And the older I get, the more I think, man, it would be more comfortable in my deer blind if I had such and such things. And so over the years, this is what it takes for me and my son. Now he doesn't go hunting with me anymore, but Tate, just imagine Tate going hunting on Saturday morning with me. So some of the things that I take hunting with me. One of the things that I take is I have to take a certain amount of clothes. Now, hunting season's in November for me. And we know November can be one of two things. It can be very cold or it could be very hot. And so you have to be prepared. You have to have the right amount of clothes. And so here, hold your arms out. So, you just don't know what you're going to need. You definitely got to have the orange. You're just not sure. And when you take a young kid, they get cold real easy. It gets real cold for them. So now you got all the clothes that you're going to need. Oh, wait, forgot my long underwear. Thanks. So now we got all our clothes on. Now we're obviously not going to carry them to the deer stand, but we got our clothes on. But now I got to be comfortable when I sit in a deer blind. And so, here, can you hold that for me right there? So I have a chair that I take. Now, we take two chairs. Now, there's a lot of guys that hunt on our property with us, and just, we're not sure what blind we're going to be in, so we have to make sure that we have the right chairs. Now, all of them have chairs, but it may not be my chair. So I have to have my chair, because if I'm sitting too low, I can't see out the edge. If I'm sitting too high, my feet dangle, my leg, it's just not good. Now, then, again, could be cold outside. So we take a heater with us. I'm not going to make you hold this one, Christian, but we take a heater because when you have a little guy and an old guy whose circulation doesn't work very well, you've got to have warmth. If it's cold outside, my feet get cold, I'm done. I don't want to leave the deer blind. I might miss a deer. So I have a heater, and this heater specifically takes those little small canisters, but when it's cold outside and you have a little guy who wants to stay warm all day long, those canisters don't last very long. So we take a big one. We make sure that we're going to be nice and warm. So these are just a few of the things that we have to have. But obviously there's other things. You have to have. What are you doing? Don't lose my underwear. That's embarrassing. You have to have your hunting weapon. This is my crossbow. I opted to bring my crossbow instead of my rifle just for comfort reasons, but also because it's a little bit lighter than my rifle. But it's still, can you hold that right there? Thank you. And with that, if you're like me, you might miss. So you got to have some extras. So, yeah, hold that for me. And just to make sure that I have the right aim, I have shooting sticks. So, yeah, if you would, thank you, Christian. And then this is my backpack that I take, and it's full of all kinds of stuff. And by the way, just in case you are asking, yes, I've been cleared. I can hold heavy things now. I have all my attractive scents, because I have to smell attractive to deer. I have all my deer calls. Now, I don't like swapping spit, so I have my deer calls. My kids have their deer calls. Just extra bullets, extra, I carry my extra arrows in here. Here's something if I want to hide in the bushes. I have just extra hats, whatever. Here, can you hold? Yeah, thanks, Christian. Now, it's a long day in the deer blind, and I get hungry, and so I have my cooler of food, snacks, waters, Pepsi. It's not a good deer season without Pepsi. Just all the things that I might need until it gets dark outside. Here, I'll just put this over here. Thanks, Christian. Now, make sure don't lose anything, okay? So this is what it takes for me to go hunting. This is everything that I'm going to need, everything that we're all going to need. Now here's the thing. Once I get all of this stuff on at my truck, it's a quarter mile at least, depending on what blind I go to get to my blind. I'm obviously not heartless. I don't make my kids carry everything. I carry a lot of the stuff, right? But for this illustration, they're going to carry all of it. But I do carry some of the stuff. But this is all the things. And I spend so much time preparing to go on my hunt that by the time I get to my deer blind, guess what? I'm tired. I'm wore out. Tate falls asleep before I do, but I fall asleep pretty quick after I get in my deer blind. It's still dark outside, at least I hope. It's still dark outside, and I'm hot because I've got all these clothes on. I'm carrying all these things, and when I get hot, I get sleepy. And so I finally get to the deer blind, and I fall asleep because of all this stuff that I have to do to prepare to go. All right, I'll release your burden from you. Here we go. Yeah, just let me have that stuff. There you go. You can just throw all that on the floor. But it's the same way in our Christian walks. Thank you, Christian. It's the same way as Christians. Oftentimes, I fill my day with things that I have to get done. I have to accomplish. I have to get up in the morning. I've got to make sure I'm clean to get ready to go to work, to get dirty. Doesn't make sense, but that's what I do. I have to make sure I have my lunch and my waters and all the things that my wife thinks I got to have in order to survive a day at work. And then I've got appointments that I've got to keep track of. And then I've got, I've got tool shed coming up tomorrow night. I've got doctor's appointment, or I've got to meet 2 or 3 of my customers to talk about future jobs. I've got to make sure Christian's got all his stuff going on. And then I got to go home and I've got to check on my family. My daughter, she's getting ready to move out and go into college, so I got to see what she needs for get ready for college. I got to make sure that my wife is okay and that she's, maybe she needs me to cook supper. And then I've got to come in for a meeting or something. All of these things, we fill our days with. All of this stuff, we prepare all of these things to go and do whatever we need to do throughout the day. And as Christians, we miss the focus. As you saw, as I kept piling stuff up on, Christian would have to move his eyes and he'd kind of have to pull things down, and he would throw things on the floor so he could see out over the top of what he was loaded down with. We fill our day so full of stuff, it's a wonder why we can't see the throne of God. I wonder what it would be like, because, the honest truth about going hunting, if it's rifle season, you only need a gun and 1 bullet. That's all it takes to harvest a deer. I know farmers who go out and almost right up to their deer blind in a rattle trap, pickup truck, get out of the deer blind, or get out of the truck, go right into the deer blind, first light, shoot their deer, load it up in the truck, and they're gone, and their hunting season's done. They didn't have to take all of this stuff. I don't have to take all of this stuff. It's just what I feel like I need to have to be comfortable on my day of hunting. I bet we could, if we sat here as humans and as Christians, if we sat here and thought about our days, what are some of the things that we could get rid of? What are some of the things that we could do without? What are some of the things that we could offload? Maybe allow somebody else to take. We get so bogged down. We get so loaded down with our stuff, our daily rituals, our daily strives, that we miss seeing the throne of God. Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 and following. It says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." See, we fill our lives so full of stuff, and we burden ourselves so much that it's hard for us to focus on the throne of God. When in the reality of things, Jesus says you're not supposed to take all this stuff on yourself. You don't have to be the only one doing these things. I want to help you. And he says, take my yoke upon you. Now, a yoke, many of you know what it is, some of you don't. A yoke is a thing that you would put over a pair of oxen or donkeys or horses. And it's normally made of wood. It's got to be a heavy wood because it's got to withstand all of the rain and dirt and grease and oil and sweat and all the things that happen when they're pulling the plows and stuff. But they're put over the oxen so that the oxen can work together to pull a heavy plow through dirt so that the farmers can plant their seeds and grow crops. And the thing is you never see a yoke single. You always see it big enough for 2. And you will never see one animal using a yoke by itself. It takes 2 to carry that burden. And Jesus says, I want to be the one that carries that burden with you. In fact, I want to take most of that burden away from you. That way you can focus on the things that are most important. Things such as taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of your church, taking care of one another, encouraging, loving, being a part of one another, studying your Bible, praying, talking to God every day. These are things that help us see the throne. The second thing that we are called to do is to run the race that is before us with endurance. As a kid, I would run in track, and I ran distance, which means I may run 800 meters, which is a half mile. I may run a mile. I ran a 2 mile one time. That's all it took was once. Didn't want to do it again. I ran in teams of four for the 4 by 800, 4 by 400, 4 by 1600, so on and so forth. But it took a lot of training and a lot of effort to get my body ready to go for a race. And I chose these things in track for a reason, because I'm not a fast runner. As a kid, when I was Tate's age, I used to be really fast. I used to be one of the fastest kids in my class, but as I grow older, I was not a fast runner anymore. I did not want to run a sprint. I wasn't really out to figure out how fast I could get from point A to point B. I just wanted to get from point A to point B at the right time. I had to work on my personal best, as you can hear people talking about. But I don't like running fast. And oftentimes life is a sprint for us. Again, I go through all of the things that we had to prepare for to get ready for NYR. And it was a sprint. It was got to get here, got to get to the appointment, got to make sure this is done, got to make sure we got this thing. We got to go to Walmart for the third time. We missed getting this food. How are we going to, all these things are racing through our minds, and we're running through life. Our daily grind, again, is we've got to get to this appointment by this time. We have to be here by this time. We have to have this done by this point. This project has to be done by a certain amount of time. Everything has to be done now, right? And we run and we get there and we finally get to that point, and then as soon as we get to that point, now we've got to move to the next one. I don't believe this is how God really wanted life to be. I believe God really wanted life to be more of a marathon. Instead of getting from point A, from birth, to point B, death, as fast as you can, God would rather you take your time. There's a race in Australia that they do, and it's usually about a 3 or 4 day race, and it's done in cars, and you have partners, and it's basically from one side of Australia to the other, and the goal is to get from the starting point to the other side of Australia as fast as you can. But the thing is in this race, because it's such a long race, you have to pace yourself. And if you don't, then you may miss a turn, because you have to follow a certain route that is already pre-mapped out for you. And if you're going as fast as you possibly can, and you're supposed to turn right, but yet you're going so fast you don't see the sign, you're going to miss your turn. And oftentimes people miss those turns, and now they got to figure out how to get back from Wichita to Topeka, Kansas. Or how to get back on I-70 because you took the wrong turn in Kansas City, right? And so that takes up extra time. And you've got to make up that time, because in our minds, now I'm behind, I've got to figure out how I'm going to make this up. To where if you were running your race, if they were running that race as it's intended to be, you don't miss your turns, and then you don't miss your turns, you get to the checkpoints on time. I believe that's how God wanted our lives to truly be. We're so focused on all of the things that we've got to do, and I'm not saying that it's not important things. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing all these things. But sometimes, even when it comes to spiritual things, it's okay to take a step back and say, you know what? I'm done racing. I'm done sprinting. I want to run this marathon with Jesus. A lot of preachers will be on call and running and doing things, and over time they get into their ministry and they get what is called burnout. And the reason they're burned out is because they've packed their days so full of things, of what they think they're supposed to be doing. that they're doing things for everybody else, and they're doing things for the church, and they're doing things for the community, and they're involved in all these meetings, and they're involved in all these clubs, and they're involved in making sure the sermons are right, and the Sunday school lessons are right, and making sure the youth ministry is going well, and all of these things. Even though they're doing things for God, they get burned out. And it's because they're going at such a pace that they can't keep up with themselves. And that is more of a detriment to the church that they're involved in than it would be if they said, you know what, I need to take a step back. And I need to let somebody else take this over for me. I need to run a marathon. I'm done sprinting. But our lives are so busy that we lose our energy. And when we lose our energy, when we make the wrong turn, when we don't follow the map that God has set before us, it is very hard for us to see the throne of God. Because now we're having to make up time. Now, I told you all of the negative things that happened at NYR, and I want you to understand that now that I've talked you guys into helping us next year, and you guys are ready to go, really ready to go, I want to tell you the good things. Because as I'm sitting there and I'm dealing with all these things by myself, it seems like, right? My job as one of the sponsors that goes, my job is to cook. Now, I have a team member that was not there for the first 3 days. Your kids did not starve to death. They had food. It was good food. I really, all I am is a glorified reheater. Because the food's already prepped, but I've got to make sure it's ready on time, and I've got to make sure the team that is supposed to be there to help me is there. But that's one of the good things, is we didn't starve to death. My wife showed up on Sunday night, and she was raring to go. She took over, and she organized everything that I didn't organize, and really set things. In fact, I'll be honest with you, the first 3 days, we didn't even know what we were supposed to eat. We were just winging it. We're like, okay, we could have this today, and we'll put this on the menu for tomorrow. Why? Because in the strenuous things of getting ready to go, Eric forgot to pick up his folder of all the papers that had the information for us. He had a picture on his phone, but I can't see that because I'm blind. But we made it. Even though we took an extra hour and a half to get through Kansas, we made it to the hotel safely. There was no issues. The rainstorm, it went right over the top of us. It wasn't a bad storm, at least where we were. Alicia did great. Our setup time. I don't know if we've ever set up our camp faster than we did this year. I figured up a brief total 7 hours, I think, is what it took to do our full complete setup. And that was from the time we pulled in to the time we were done. Now, it was spanned over a couple days. The tent that we had never set up before, that was actually one of the easiest setups tents that we did. Instead of having to set up two, we only had to set up one, and we had everybody there, and everybody did a great job setting it up. Monday, with the stolen wallet, or with the money gone out of the wallet issue, when Eric got his wallet back, I happened to be sitting next to him at the table. And he opened his wallet, and he's going through it, and he goes, you know what? I'm missing my cash, but I have all my credit cards. And even more important than that, I have all of the receipts of all the expenditures of the fuel and all the food and everything still in my wallet. So now I know exactly what we have spent. So I know how much we have left to spend. That was a good thing. They could have taken the whole wallet, and he would have had to do all new passwords, get all new credit cards, and just, it could have been a mess. The watch that came up missing, Eric got home and found out that he wadded it up in his clothes. It wasn't missing. He had it the whole time. He was just playing. The keys, they were in a lining of Alicia's purse. Come to find out, there's a hole in the bottom of her purse, and when she put her keys in there, they went all the way down through the hole, and in looking for the keys, it got moved around inside the lining of her purse, and they were found. So we were able to get home. My pain, even though it got so bad on Thursday that I ended up having to go to the hospital, I was able to go to a hospital close by. And they were able to find out what exactly it was. It was a blocked appendix, and it wasn't burst yet. It was getting close, but it wasn't there. So I was able to get my appendix removed. I was in the hospital for a total of 11 hours. And I was released, and I was on my way. In fact, we were on our way back up the mountain when they were on their way down the mountain. So we spun around real quick and got back in with the group, made it to our hotel on Thursday night. It would have been so hard if I would have had gone all the way on my way home and had my appendix burst. There's not very many hospitals on our route home. And if they are, they're 2, 3, 4 hours away. So God was looking out for me with my appendix on top of the mountain, 20-minute drive down, taken care of, and I was able to come home with my family. I was able to come home with the whole group. And when we got home, just the crowd of people, I was like, what is going on in our parking lot? But there were so many people here to help tear that, to put stuff away. I wasn't even supposed to touch anything, but I wasn't allowed to anyway, because everybody was there to take over for me. Those were the good things of the negative parts of our trip. Some of the other great things was just, like I said, we had a group from mixed youth groups, but every one of those kids got along. They laughed together and sitting around the table at meals, they'd be teasing each other and they'd be laughing and they'd be carrying on and just getting along together. It could have been so much worse. We have had groups that have gone out where it's hard for people to get along together and they're stuck together in this small area and here we are listening to them argue all week. That's not easy to do, but that didn't happen this year. One of our youth brought her guitar and led worship basically for one of our devotion times. And the same night she gave her own devotion and just listening to each and every one of our youth give their devotions and singing their hearts out and being a part of the worship service down in the valley and just watching and listening to the band and all the preaching was excellent, all the lessons were great. On Monday, the kids were given a card. And on one side of that card, it read, what is something that hinders you from seeing the throne of God? What is a sin that you're dealing with? What is maybe it's your family life. Maybe it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Maybe it's being tired from getting ready to go on this trip. Maybe it's you're not getting along with your youth leader. Maybe whatever it is, what is it that's keeping you from seeing the throne of God? On the other side, it was, what are you going to do about it? And the preacher on that Tuesday night, Mike DeFazio, talked about those cards, and that was his topic for that night. And on each side of the valley were crosses. And as he talked about all the things that hinder us from seeing the throne of God, our busy schedules, our family life, our love life, our youth groups, the people we get along with, people we don't get along with, whatever it is, these are things that keep us from seeing the throne of God, our busy schedules. And so then the question came up, what are you going to do about it? And the honest thing is there is nothing for you to do about it. Now you could say, well, I'm going to stop this sin. You could say, well, I'm going to do my best to be a better husband or wife, or I'm going to be a better son or a daughter. I'm going to do better, have a better relationship with my parents. I'm going to not treat my boyfriend or girlfriend better than I treat my Savior. You could write all these things down, but when it comes down to it, just like Hebrews chapter 12 says, Matthew chapter 11 says, you can't do this alone. You have to have somebody come and take part of this yoke from you. You have to have somebody lighten your load. You have to have somebody come alongside you and bear this burden with you. And to watch 1,700 people take those pieces of paper and nail those to the cross is a sign of, these are the things that I'm going to give up, that I'm not going to focus on any longer so that I can see the throne of God. That was magical, if I can say that word in a sermon. That was awesome to watch that. All the lives that were changed, all the baptisms, from young to old, people getting baptized, the worshiping every day, morning and night, and just watching the interactions of all of these kids. These are the good things that happen on our trip. We made it home, didn't have any vehicle issues. We were able to get everybody out there comfortably. I was able to come back somewhat comfortably, hyped up on pills, but I was comfortable. It would have been so easy for me to stand up here this morning and tell you that this was a horrible trip, and I don't want to ever go on it again. But the truth of the matter is because I choose to keep my eyes on the throne. I choose to see the good things in life. No matter how hard I pack myself full of stuff to do, no matter how much of a burden I put on myself to go forward through every day, I want to see the good things. I want to be a part of those good things. I have to keep my focus on the throne of God. And that's why I go on this trip every year. That's why I am so happy, and I'm ready to go next year. I've already got the dates on my calendar. I'm making preparations. I'm thinking of all the things I need to pack for next year already. Because I need these reminders. I need to be able to be reminded myself. I need to be able to sit back for a week and relax and let other people feed into me and remind me that my focus should not be on me. My focus should not be on my daily grind. My focus should not be on preparing to go and do whatever I have to go do. My focus has to be, should be, always on the throne of God. Because that is the only way that I'm ever going to make it through this life. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to take off all the things that hinder me and give them to Jesus. But I want to ask about you. What about you? Given the opportunity to answer this question, what is it that is hindering you from seeing the throne of God? What is it that is stopping you from glancing up from your daily grind, from all of the things that you have in your life packed full? Is it your work? Give it to God. Is it your family? Give it to God. Is it your social life? Give it to God. Is it your church life? Give it to God. Because if you are carrying all of these burdens and you're trying to run this sprint with all of these things packed full of yourself, there is no way that you can visually see God's throne. And I want that for you. Trent wants that for you. All of the elders want that for you here. So if there's a way that we can help you with that, let us know. We're going to move into our invitation time now. I just want you to know that there is no rules of how this has to be done. There's no rules that say that you have to stand and sing. There's no rules that say that you have to do this any certain way. Because if you're here this morning and you are realizing that you have been missing the focus of life and that you have not been able to see the throne of God because you have filled yourself so full or you have been at a dead sprint for so long, maybe you just need to sit and rest. Maybe you need to get on your knees and pray. We're going to have our people here in the congregation. We're going to let the women have their opportunity. If they don't want to come forward, they can go and meet with whoever is going to be back in the back corner and just talk about it. Offload that burden. Pray with them. Men, you have the same opportunity. If you don't want to come down forward, then grab one of the elders. Grab Trent. I think he's somewhere around. Let us pray with you. Let us talk with you. Let us see if we can ease that burden with you. Maybe you just need to spend this time with just you and God. Just take a moment. Say, God, I need to see the throne. Help me offload my burdens. Help me to slow my life down. Take away the things that I don't need to be a part of anymore. Take away the things that I don't need in my life anymore. Because I need to see the throne. Because when it comes down to it, when you're looking at the throne, you're looking at the one thing that is going to be the most constant in your life. This book is full of promises, and one of those promises is that He will take your burden. And He's already taken most of it. His arms are out. You just got to give it to Him.
I've carried a burden too long on my own.